Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello and welcome back to this video. We are returning to the lovely burg of Night Vale, and this episode 7 called History Week, and we were going to see what enlightening and life-altering information that our boy Cecil has for us this week.
It is almost complete. It is almost complete at last. Welcome to Night Vale.
It just makes you wonder. They're like 300 or 400 episodes in now. And I just wonder how you go from week to week, because they release these twice a month, once every other 2 weeks, but still having an individualized intro for each one. Yeah, groovy music still. If you're just listening to it and you're not trying to do, say, a commentary video, this intro music is the perfect length, but sometimes it's too long.
Hello there. As you well know, faithful listeners, it is Night Vale History Week.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
In which we all learn a bit about what made our bustling little town what it is. Or, as the official motto released by the city council goes, poke about in the black recesses of the past until it devours our fragile present.
Yeah, city council's going to city council. That's, this is kind of what they do.
In the interest of civic participation, Night Vale Community Radio will be pitching in with short lessons about some points of interest from our town's history, starting with 4000 BC.
Okay, we're going back a little bit.
Archaeologists believe this is the earliest date of human settlement in Night Vale. Little remains of these ancient inhabitants, except a few cave paintings of their
cave paintings,
towns and their hunting practices, and of the dark shapes that would watch them in the distance.
Interesting. But it's not what you think it is, because this is Night Vale.
Inhuman, shimmering shapes that never came closer or farther away.
Kind of sounds like an episode, a late 70s, early 80s episode of Doctor Who.
But whose presence could be felt even with eyes shut tight, huddled in fur and the company of another human's naked skin.
Not really quite sure to say about that.
Or, so I'm extrapolating from the evidence. The cave paintings mainly resembled smudges now, after their original discoverer attempted to power wash them off the wall because he, on religious grounds, did not believe in the past.
That's a disease that seems to be going around, at least in America. Yeah, there are those people that I am pretty sure, believe nothing important in history happened before July 4th, 1776. So, yeah. And I did meet a professor, used to be at Sam Houston State back in the 90s, that would tell you basically nothing important in American history happened before the founding of the Mormon Church. So it is what it is.
And now, the news. The Night Vale Tourism Board asks that whoever is telepathically assaulting the tourists...
Yeah, if you... Yeah, you have people telepathically assaulting your visitors, it's, yeah, probably not a good thing.
Please stop. According to the NVTB Executive Director, Madeleine LaFleur, there were 2 separate incidents in 1 week of entire tour buses suddenly shrieking in unbridled terror and trying to blind themselves using rolled-up, visitable Night Vale brochures.
Ow. Ow. Just ow.
All to the utter confusion of the bus drivers. LaFleur added, "We just had those brochures printed."
Yeah. Well, yeah. This is bad because we just had the brochures printed. That's funny.
LaFleur claims that tourism accounts for tens of thousands of dollars annually for Night Vale.
Sounds like Huntsville, Texas, to be honest with you.
And the town prides itself on hospitality.
And, you know, I mean, not just Huntsville, just Huntsville's the town I live closest to, but imagine a lot of small towns, especially in Texas, the American South, especially along the Texas Gulf Coast and the southern Gulf Coast, that tourism, especially along the I-10 corridor, is very much a needed thing for those places.
Said if good-hearted families travel to Night Vale only to find their subconsciouses besieged with unforgettable revelations, horrors buried so deep as to be completely indescribable, revealing...
That's probably not good for tourism, to be honest with you.
Wholly unbearable new truths, then we certainly can't expect these people to return, let alone leave good Yelp ratings for local businesses.
Yeah, we got to worry about them Yelp ratings. When did this episode? This episode came out in September 15th, 2012. So yeah, Yelp was a thing back then, if I remember correctly.
The city is asking residents for help in determining who or what is causing these psychological infractions.
I like the thing that they clarified with who and or what.
The tourism board is offering puppies as a reward for information on this case.
That's a good incentive, I guess.
Or, even if you don't have information, the city asks that you come get a puppy or 2 anyway.
Yeah,
Seriously, downtown municipal offices are overrun with them.
Now, the only problem is do you trust a puppy from Night Vale?
In the trees, walls, carpentry, the exterminators are completely stymied by this infestation.
It's a lot of puppies.
Please help. It has been several weeks since anyone in Night Vale has seen the Apache Tracker, that white guy who wears the
Man, Cecil just be hating on this dude, ain't he?
inaccurate and horribly offensive Indian headdress everywhere. He has not been seen since he began investigating the great screaming heard at the post office and the words written in blood inside. Also, the entire structure of his house has vanished.
Yeah, I guess that happens from time to time, you know. Whole houses just vanishing. Just kind of everyday thing some places, especially Nightville.
And the lot where it stood is now a bucolic meadow that neighborhood kids will not ever enter, for reasons even they are unable to explain.
Yeah. it just gets kind of... Sometimes you just want to pause just to pause, because you got to have a moment to let that sink in a bit.
I think I speak for everyone in the community when I say good riddance to that local embarrassment. He made the whole town look ignorant and racist.
I mean, he does have a point.
And now, let us continue with our Night Vale History Week special feature.
This should be interesting.
The year 1745. The first white men arrive in Night Vale, which was not Night Vale then, but was rather just another part of a large and featureless desert. I think we can all agree, though, that even as large and featureless as the desert was, the part that would eventually become Desert Bluffs was still probably awful and drab in comparison to our part.
You know, yeah, Cecil be really hating on Desert Bluffs. Him and Desert Bluffs and Apache Tracker tend to be his big sore spots. And what's his face from last episode? I can't remember the guy's name. The Snitch.
In any case, the story goes that a party of explorers came to the area that would be Night Vale, looked around, and immediately left to go find somewhere with more water and maybe some trees.
You know, it is what it is, man.
Then another 3 parties of explorers did the same thing.
Makes you wonder.
Then finally, one party of explorers all looked at each other, shrugged, and plopped down their stuff. And thus was a proud city born.
Yeah, it is what it is. You know, that's how a lot of cities in America got started.
And now, traffic. Crews from the Department of Public Safety will be repainting highway lane markers this week. The common white dashes and double yellow lane dividers will be replaced with colorful ceramic mosaics depicting disgruntled South American workers rising en masse against an abusive capitalist hegemony.
Okay, fun? I don't know.
The protective steel barriers along curves in the road will be taken down to make room for some really lovely and provocative butcher paper silhouettes of slavery-era self-mutilation.
Yummy!
Reflective of centuries of slow genocide and dehumanization by Western imperialists.
Yeah, that's troubling.
Designed by contemporary art darling Carol Walker. Also, exits 15 to 17 along Route 800 will be closed for the next 2 Saturdays because of the biennial Lee Marvin Film Retrospective.
Yeah, I guess closing highway exits is how you celebrate that. I do like some of Lee Marvin's movies, though, by the way.
So, please watch for working crews this weekend. Lower your speed, and don't forget to tip the DPS shift leaders. 20% of your current mileage is standard.
Yeah, that's incentive to have a low mileage vehicle.
Lack of tipping is the leading cause of sinkholes in the U.S.
And why does that just, sound like that, somebody... I wonder if somebody could sit down, do the research, and actually make that a conspiracy. That would be fun to do. Create something, a line from Night Vale into a great nationwide conspiracy. That would be awesome. So if you can do, if you're smart enough to do conspiracy and build them, here's an idea.
The year 1824. The first meeting of the Town Elder Council, predecessors to the City Council. Picture them. Crimson robes and soft meat crowns, as was traditional at the time.
And there are places probably in Louisiana where they still dress that way.
Setting the groundwork for the splendor of today's Night Vale. A number of elements of our modern civic process were invented in that single 3-hour meeting, including the City Council membership, since unchanged.
Consistency in your City Council is a good thing.
The lovably Byzantine tax system, as well as the system of brutal penalties for mistakes, and the official town song, chant, and moan.
Hey, every city needs an official song, chant, and moan. That goes without saying.
All records of this meeting were destroyed, and according to a note being passed to me just now, I am to report to City Hall for re-education effective tomorrow morning.
Ooh, re-education. Fun!
Oh dear. The results of a recent survey of Night Vale residents came to light this week. The study found widespread dissatisfaction with our town's public library, and when considering the facts, it's easy to see why.
Yeah. A library in Night Vale. This is going to be interesting.
The public computers for internet use are outdated and slow. The lending period of 14 days is not nearly long enough to read lengthier books, given the busy schedules of all our lives. The fatality rate is also well above the national average for public libraries.
Yeah. I need to check in to see what the fatality rate for the Huntsville Public Library is. Just out of curiosity, if it's above or below the national norm.
The library Bloodstone Circle does not appear to have seen any maintenance or cleaning in some time.
And that's one thing I have to give the Huntsville Public Library is their Bloodstones. They keep them clean. They keep them immaculate.
There are reports of a faceless specter moving about the biographies section, picking off lone browsers one by one. And that biographies section, by the way,
is probably... There's no telling. Let's proceed.
Is far too small and has been oddly curated, containing 33 copies of the official biography of Helen Hunt and no other books.
Hey, I like Helen Hunt. She's a pretty good actress.
From top to bottom, the public library is a disgrace to our fair city, and I can only hope our city council does something about that soon. Or I may find myself hoping that the faceless specter puts the library to the same mysterious violent end as its many victims.
That's just, yeah. If you're a librarian or frequent a library on a regular basis, let me know in the comments about any faceless specters you have roaming around your library. I would be interested in learning about faceless specters in public libraries.
Night Vale High won the grudge match against the Desert Bluffs Vultures last night. Two-headed quarterback Michael Sandero credits the win to help from angels.
Maybe, maybe not.
The Angels have made an adamant denial of any involvement whatsoever in the game.
You gotta love it.
The school district ethics committee has announced that they will look into any possible angelic interference.
If they are interfering, things have to be done about it.
Speaking of which, Night Vale High School is adding metal detectors, and parents and students alike are outraged.
Uh-oh. This sounds like something that the fine senator from Texas, Mr. Rafael Cruz, may be interested in. He's better known by the name that his owners have given him of Ted Cruz, but his real name is Rafael.
Several parents we talked to said that NVHS students have long been recipients of shadow government-issued Uzis and rifles, as well as tasers and armor-piercing munitions.
Sounds like Texas.
The school board's decision to put up metal detectors, according to parents, impinges on the clandestine operations rights as a vast underground conspiracy of giant megacorporations and corrupt world leaders to bear arms.
I just wonder how often, or if any of the writers for this show have been to Texas.
Via teenage paramilitary proxies. The school board countered that studies indicate that weapons distract from educators' ability to educate, and that students who bring firearms to classrooms are more likely to use firearms than students without firearms.
That's a concern.
The school board says that school shootings can only get in the way of a quality education.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we can't have here in Texas is a quality education.
Well, at the risk of becoming too much a part of this story, dear listeners, might I say that the Night Vale School District is overstepping its bounds by telling us whether or not our children can be armed by undercover militants?
Cecil may have a point there. It's 6 one way, half dozen the other, I guess.
Should it be a school's job to say, "No, child, you cannot have grenades or assault rifles in the classroom"? I think not.
That's one way of looking at it.
Beginning November 1st, all students at NVHS will enter through metal detectors. Any firearms or weaponry found will be confiscated and held in the counselor's office until after school, when the students can pick them up again.
Well, at least they're going to give them back to the kids after school day's over, you got to give the school credit for that.
Seriously, listeners, what's next? Removing the line, "Praise the beams, praise, O ye knowing beams that guide our lives, our hearts, our souls. Praise, O highest, to ye all-powerful beams," from the Pledge of Allegiance?
He does have a point. Once you start policing, children with guns, there's no telling what else that a lunatic city council or school administration might do.
Let's return to another key moment in Night Vale history. The year 1943. As part of the war effort, Night Vale citizens dedicated themselves to chanting. The young, the old, men and women alike gathered around their bloodstones and chanted for the victory of the United States. While some credit must be given to the strategic planning of U.S. Command and to the brave fighting of American soldiers, most reputable scholars believe that Night Vale's chanting was the deciding factor in America's eventual victory over the Axis powers.
And more power to them for that.
The city council erected a 7-story monument in Grove Park saying so in large neon letters.
Yes, and the neon letters make it important.
Until a federal lawsuit forced them to take it down. And now, a word from our sponsors.
These are always good.
That word is carp. This next installment in our exploration of Night Vale's storied past takes place in the future. The year 2052. The scion of the Dark Order will descend, realize he mistimed the prophecy, and reascend.
At least, he realized he mistimed it,
The 7th siege of the great Night Vale Temple will rage on. The plague of buzzing boils will kill thousands and annoy thousands more with its buzzing.
It is what it is.
The city council will reveal its true form and eat half of Night Vale's population.
Woo, fun, yay!
Approval ratings for the mayor will hover in the low 40s, which will be surprising, as there will have been no mayor for over 30 years.
Yeah, it's the electoral system.
And now, the weather.
Okay, we'll go ahead and pause and skip through this musical interlude. I do encourage people to go to wherever you get your podcasts from and listen to these episodes without my commentary, so you can listen to the weather, because there's some really good songs, but I condense it for time constraints, because some of these songs are 3, 4, 5 minutes long. So I do encourage you to go and do that, to listen to these episodes without my commentary. Okay, we are back. So we've finished the weather, and let's proceed on forward.
The Night Vale Business Association announced today that the Night Vale Harbor and Waterfront Recreation Area was not actually something that ever existed in reality. But
okay, we had a whole episode on this, but yeah, let's see how it wasn't in reality.
Was instead a shared hallucination of the entire town's population. As such, they are proud to declare that they have never suffered any sort of disastrous business failure, and the reportedly massive amounts of money lost on building waterfront facilities in a desert are fabrications of our collective consciousness.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And this, that doesn't that doesn't have any questionable anything to it.
They recommend consulting your dream interpretation manuals to determine exactly what this Night Vale Harbor vision could mean.
Yeah, you always got to keep those at least on, if not on top of your nightstand, keep your dream manual in the close to your bed.
They also said that if you happen to stumble on the waterfront buildings out in the desert exactly where you remembered them, and they seem completely real, standing as vacant and useless as the day they were built, that's because you are still hallucinating and should seek medical treatment immediately.
Yes, seek medical treatment immediately.
Or have a member of the city council howl at you if you are of the olden faith and do not believe in modern medicine.
You got free, First Amendment freedom of religion thing, you've got to take it in account.
For our final story in this week's featured look into the history of Night Vale, let's look at the very recent past. Yesterday, I had cereal for breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, steak for dinner. Cars were driven, cars were not driven. The sun gave a great shout of light and then, after several hours of thought, quietly retracted the statement.
It's just, the writing for this is just so awesome.
Old woman Josie dug up a box in a shady corner of her yard and carried it, cradled in her arms like a baby or a delicate explosive, to another part of her yard where she buried it again.
We all do that from time to time.
An unknown person did something that no one else saw, the nature and extent of which is impossible to determine, and the result of which will be lost in the chaotic chain of causation and consequence that is history.
Or the future.
But most importantly, all of us here in Night Vale, in America, in the world, in the secret orbital bases, all of us got through another day.
And you need to be happy about it.
We passed the time from one end of 12 to the other without stopping once. Well done, us.
Give ourselves a pat on the back.
Good job, people who experience time. Time experiencers, good job. And from this moment in history, the one that's happening right now, good night.
And there we go. Episode 7, History Week. These episodes are. This is just. I like this, doing these whole episodes like this and doing one on Saturday and doing one on Sunday, simply because Saturday is a good way to end your week with Night Vale, and Sunday is a good day. Night Vale is a good thing to start your week and get you through the torment that is Monday through Friday. So until next time, people, be good humans. Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?